Hi there, Clive Smallman, the Personal and Organisational Learning Strategist. I help leaders, teams and organisations to have breakthrough moments. I just wanted to talk through a few ideas that I've got in putting out a little bit of a system, but it's not really a system, it's really adapted for everybody, on the idea of leadership at the edge and what does it actually mean. And I want to talk about taking 5 steps off the edge. When we're faced with opportunities, sometimes we get stuck in these things that I call strange loops that we really struggle to come to terms with. We don't really know where we're going, where we're getting to, how we're going to get there. We kind of get stuck at the edge of opportunity, at the edge of success. Equally, we get stuck in the face of challenges. Now, some of these are the regular challenges that we see in business, the idea of problems with cash flow, the idea of problems with costs, the ideas around change, the ideas around really retaining those very good staff that you want to see, and also the engagement of staff at work. Of course, there are more serious problems that we get when we see things like cyber attacks, when we see real problems coming through an organisation, a real challenge. What do we do with them? How do we actually work to actually make those things better and get stuck away, get pulled away from the edge? That's the issues, the sort of things that I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the idea of strange loops, which is an idea that's borrowed out of psychology. These are the things where we move or we sit in a position that we're actually in today. We're below what I call the edge, the line of performance, where we really want to be. And we get stuck in these loops. We go round and round searching for a solution, but we kind of end up in the same position or a similar position to the one that we actually started out on. We don't thrive, we don't grow, or worse yet, our performance drops off. What I want to take us towards is the idea of 5 steps away from that edge, either towards growth or at least pulling you back from a real problem that you're going to have. And the 5 things that I look at with people and teams and ultimately with organisations are character strengths. Character strengths, there's about 24 of them that were developed out of the work of Christensen and Seligman and big 3-year research project which looked at the positive side of life. Too much of psychology looks at the negative. Seligman, Christensen take a look at the positive, and this whole school of positive psychology came out of that. I use ideas from that to really work much harder on what it is you can build on, what it is that's positive about life, how can we make you move forward. These relate then to the idea of mental toughness, which is how you're going to cope with challenges, how you're going to cope with commitments, how you're going to cope in the face of adversity, how strong are you mentally. That's another important concept for me. I then want to take a look at your learning preferences, and the learning preference idea is whether or not you're visual, auditory, read, write or kinesthetic, learning by doing. It's also important to understand that because that's how I can help to tune how you and your teams are going to grow. And then there is the idea of learning preferences, which is actually the style of learning that you undertake, not the actual physical process or the inputs, but the style that you actually adopt. This helps me to look at the idea of a growth plan for you, which is a very old idea in coaching. It looks at your goals, it does a reality check for you, it helps you develop better options, and it also finds the best way forward for you. And from there, I will hold you accountable. This is the way that I approach making a breakthrough, and I'll be looking in future videos at how I can help you to break through by looking in a little more detail at each of these steps. This really takes us into this idea of a learning cycle. The idea of a learning cycle where we look at aspects of living, reflecting on living, actually thinking about how we live, what we do, the experiences that we have before we try and reinvent ourselves and put some of these things into practice, the doing phase of learning from experience. I'm Clive Smallman, the Personal and Organisational Learning Strategist. I help leaders, teams and organisations to have breakthrough moments.